So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you all in this live session by Drishti IAS. As usual, we will discuss our Indian Express newspaper. We will take a few important articles from the newspaper and the explained section as well, and then we will discuss them in detail, and we will make sure whatever information is important for you from the prelims and mains point of view, we will be talking about that, and then we will be discussing the previous question which was given to you in the previous lecture, and with that we will move forward. Okay, so this paper here, you can see the front page of today's newspaper. Most of them, they are talking about this Goenka Awards, Ramnath Goenka Awards, but we will not go into it because it's just a publicity stunt. But the thing is, now when we are talking about the CAA, we have talked about it again and again. Okay, so we will not dwell deep into it. But the thing is, now recent development is that no stay on CAA rules. There was various people or various communities who has gone to court for a stay on the rules which has been notified. They have said that right now we will not put a stay, but they have asked a reply from the government. Okay, so government is to submit their reply by 2nd of April. Okay, we will see what government says, but as of now there is nothing more to discuss in that. Other than that, on the front page we don't have anything much to discuss, so we will start with our practice question and then we will see other important articles which are like related to, you can say, Supreme Court on defamation cases. So basically recently there was this case wherein Mr. Kejriwal, CM of Delhi, he was involved in some kind of retweeting, and which has led to this discussion whether retweeting a post can amount to defamation or not. Okay, now second is 2023, that is warmest on the record. Okay, so they are saying that 2023 would be the warmest year as of now on the record. So we will be discussing about the other factors, what led it to be a warmest year, what are the data saying. So all these things we will be talking about. Then case study on water crisis. So we must have talked about it yesterday. There was various events which are causing the climate to change. There is events related to you can say sea surface temperature rising. Other than that, extreme events are happening. Now when we are talking about the water crisis, here we will be specifically taking a case study of Bengaluru. Okay, so we will see these case studies you can use in your answer writing. So because generally you have this doubt that from where we will get the case studies. Newspaper is the best source for these case studies. Okay, so we will see one case study that is related to your water crisis, or you can say water management per se. Okay, so you can use it in any you can say answer, or you can say any question which is related to your water management or water resources management, groundwater table recharge, or erratic patterns of rainfall. All these things, for that you can use this particular case study. So I would suggest you to make a note out of it. Then world's most populated capital. Okay, so we will talk about that as well. That is basically Delhi. Okay, then around the world we will take one or two news and then to practice question. So let's start our discussion. Nilgiris are located at the confluence of Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. They are extended to which of the following state or states? Okay, so basically you have to choose the states in which Nilgiris has their expansion. As I told you, we have something like this, and these are your Western Ghats and these are your Eastern Ghats. So basically this is the confluence area, and here we have Nilgiris. Okay, and when we are talking about Nilgiris have their expanse in 3 states, that is one Karnataka, little bit of Karnataka, then Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, all of the above would be your answer. Okay, so let's come up with the first article of the day, that is related to your, does retweeting allegedly defamatory content amount to defamation or not? If there is a content, let's say there is a YouTube video which is defamatory in nature to some particular political party or particular leader, or as a matter of fact government, you can say, okay, or a personal, but the thing is that is defamatory. Now if I share that particular YouTube video or that particular content, will I be held responsible for the defamation, or that person who has made that particular video? Now the thing is, who has made the video, that person is definitely responsible for the defamatory action. So that is, he will be liable for that. Okay, and when we are talking about the defamation, we have section 499. Okay, so we have section 499 of IPC dealing with that. We will be talking about that. That is section 499 of IPC. So that person who has created the content will definitely be responsible or the liable for the punishment under section 499. But the thing is, whether a person who is sharing it, like I have shared the video, will I be held responsible for it or not? Okay, so that is the discussion. Recently what happened, that there was this video which was kind of defamatory in nature, and then the Delhi CM Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, he has actually put it on his Twitter page, or you can say that he has retweeted it on X. Okay, so now the case went to the trial court. Trial court give their orders. Now for that stay, he has gone to the High Court, and then Supreme Court has stopped the trial for a while. Okay, the Supreme Court last week restrained a trial court from proceeding until mid-May with a criminal defamation case against Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal for retweeting a YouTube video against BJP's IT cell in 2018. So that was that particular case happened in 2018, but now it is resurfacing. Now the thing is, question is, retweet did not always, or question is basically, can it lead to a defamation case or not? Okay, now in this particular case, judges has said that the bench of Justice Sanjeev Khanna and Dipankar Datta has said that retweet did not always mean endorsement. Like when you are retweeting something, that does not automatically mean that you are agreeing to something or not. Okay, but there are certain cases where endorsement is explicitly given. You can say that. Otherwise, there are high chances that people are doing that for sarcasm reason. Other than that, they just wanted to share, look what happened. All these things are also there. But when there is a public person or public personality, or you can say a celebrity figure who are doing such things, so the reach will be very vast. So they should be cautious about this thing, because obviously if they are reposting something, there are many people who are following them. So that can be a, you can say, talk of the town. Okay, so that is why that becomes a concern here. If it is endorsement, then it may have its own consequences. As I told you, if endorsement is there and it is a public person, there might be a consequences to that. Justice Khanna had said the other way to look at it as, you found something on internet and or a website, and then you are just sharing the information. That is the one way wherein endorsement is not there, even if you are doing it for just the sake of spreading the information, nothing else. Okay, there is no some kind of taunt attached to it or nothing, but just the sharing. Okay. Now, view of Delhi High Court. Justice Swarna Kanta Sharma of High Court has observed that every retweet of a defamatory imputation would ordinarily amount to publication under IPC section 499. So here High Court has said that every kind of retweet which is defamatory in nature, let's say if there is a content which is defamatory and you are retweeting it, it is amounting to publication under section 499. So basically when we are talking about section 499, they are saying that yes, it is liable under the section 499 and it can be held liable for the defamatory action. Okay, that when a public figure tweets a defamatory post, the ramification extend far beyond a mere whisper in someone else. Okay, so that's what I was saying. If there is a public figure who is doing such activity, who is sharing certain information, that will have a consequences, that will have ramifications, because their reach is way more higher. Okay, now defamation in law, defamation can be a civil wrong or a criminal offense. It can be of civil nature and can be of criminal nature. When we are talking about civil nature, the punishment will be slightly lower. Okay, civil defamation can be libel or slander, or you can say that it can be in writing, it can be in the form of spoken words. Okay, and it's punishable with a financial compensation. Okay, so when we are talking about civil matters, so there can be a financial compensation. Okay, when we are talking about the criminal matter or criminal defamation, there can be a punishment, punitive action can be taken. Okay, so you can be sent to jail as well. In criminal cases, defamation must be proven beyond reasonable doubt. When we are talking about any kind of criminal law, there are high chances, most of the laws are saying that if there is an accused, then it is responsibility of the prosecution to go for maintaining a situation where there is no doubt left that that person has committed a crime. Until then, that person is considered to be innocent. Okay, so even in this case of defamation, defamation must be proven beyond reasonable doubt in criminal cases. Okay, Now section 499 of the IPC, let's just read the section first. Whoever by word either spoken or intended to be read. Okay, if you have given someone a letter which is defamatory in nature, then that also you did not read that particular letter, you did not spoke those words, but yet this was there in the letter. Okay, so by words either spoken or intended to be read, or by signs or visible representation, you are doing any kind of gesture which is saying that you are going for a defamatory action. Now makes or publishes any imputations concerning any personal intended to harm. So there should be an intention of harm when we are talking about the criminal, when we are talking about this IPC deals with the penal codes. Okay, so herein you can say some kind of criminal character is there, and whenever there is a criminal character, we look for the mens rea, or you can say intention. We look for the intention that that person has the intention to harm the other person. Okay, so similarly, when you are defamating someone, you have this particular intention that you are trying to hurt their reputation. Okay, so that intention should be there. The any person intended to harm, or knowingly or having a reason to believe that such imputation will harm the reputation of such person, okay, is said to defame that particular person. So if you are doing any kind of gesture, you are speaking some kind of words, you have given a letter, or there are certain words which are to be read by that person, all these activities will amount to defamation if you have this intention to harm the reputation of another person. Okay, so that is one thing. Criminal defamation can attract a jail term up to 2 years with or without fine. One more thing I would like to tell you here is that when we are talking about defamation, section 499, it deals with the criminal defamation only. Okay, so when we are talking about the Indian penal code is for the criminal matters. Okay, so section 499 is for the criminal matters related to the defamation. Now for that you have this jail term up to 2 years. Now right to free speech. Now when we are saying that you are defamating a person, then you will say that no, it is my right to say whatever I want to say. Okay, but that is not there, because when we are talking about the right of freedom, when we are talking about the article 19, okay, so in article 19(1)(a) we have certain conditions which we can talk about. Okay, we have certain freedoms. They have said that there are certain areas where you have freedom, but the thing is, the same article 19 clause 2, the same article clause 2 talks about certain reasonable restrictions. So the thing is, you cannot say whatever comes in your mind. There are certain things where you have your freedoms, you can enjoy your freedom, but the thing is, there are certain reasonable restrictions as well. Okay, so you have this responsibility that you observe those restrictions as well. Okay, now coming to this area, in 2016, Subramaniam Swamy versus Union of India, there was this case. The Supreme Court held that the constitutionality of the IPC section 499 and 500. See, 499 talk about the defamation and 500 talks about the punishment for the defamation. Okay, so section 499 and 500 saying that the right to reputation is protected under Article 21. Okay, so you know that when we are talking about the Article 21 is related to your right to life. Right to life with dignity. That particular word with dignity is quite important, because dignity means that you have a reputation and you have this right to preserve that reputation. No one can harm your reputation. So that is one thing. With dignity include that right to reputation is protected under Article 21. So that is what said. That is what Supreme Court said in the Subramaniam Swamy versus Union of India. Protection of life and personal liberty of the Constitution, that is Article 21. And that criminal defamation is a reasonable restriction on the right to freedom of expression. So this Article 19(1)(a) will give you a right to freedom of expression, and this particular thing, that right to protection, is basically a reasonable restriction. Okay, here you can see, while Article 19(1)(a) protects the right to speech and expression, 19 clause 2 allows the state to impose reasonable restriction on rights in interest of sovereignty, integrity of India, security of the state, friendly relation with the foreign states, public order, decency and morality, or in relation to contempt of the court, defamation and incitement of an offence. So these are certain areas, or these are certain restrictions, reasonable restrictions, which has been put by Constitution itself on your right to speech, or you can say right to freedom of speech and expression. Okay, so now these particular paragraph, I would say this particular paragraph here is quite important. other than that, here we can say this particular para of right to free speech is important till here, but remember that there are 2 or 3 articles that right to reputation, okay, your right to preserve your reputation, that is part of article 21. Now UPSC has earlier asked about this particular thing, that right to marry a particular person of choice is a part of which article, or article 19, 20, 21, 22 they have said. The thing is that is part of right to life with dignity, okay. So similarly they can simply ask you right to reputation is part of which article, okay. So that is one thing. Second thing is article 19(1)(a), you know that this is talking about the freedom, and when we are talking about 19 clause 2, that is talking about basically your reasonable restrictions, okay. Now other than that, in 2017 there was this ruling, that is Kaushal Kishore versus Union of India, a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court said that no additional restriction can be imposed on free speech except under which are given in article 19 clause 2, okay. Now section 66A of IT Act 2000 had criminalizing sending offensive messages by a computer source or communication device. If you are sending some kind of offensive messages from the, let's say, mobile, tablet, computer, or any kind of digital device or communication device, that was earlier an offense, okay. But the thing is, this was not included in 19 clause 2. Second thing, they have said that they have quashed this particular thing in Shreya Singhal versus Union of India case. In Shreya Singhal versus Union of India case, they have quashed the section 66A of the IT Act, because the word here, the offensive message, that word was not defined. So the definition of offensive was not there. So you can say that there was ambiguity in the definition of the term offensive, okay, and which was because of which there was some kind of confusion, etc. And whenever there is an open-ended definition, or whenever there is a confusion on the part of the definition, there are high chances that particular clause, that particular provision can be misused, okay. So that was the thing here. So on the ground that the provision was violative of article 19(1)(a) and not saved under article 19 clause 2. So basically they are saying that this particular restriction is not mentioned in article 19 clause 2. That is why it is not, it is actually against the law. That is why it was scrapped off in the Shreya Singhal case. Now this Shreya Singhal case is important because article 66A has always been in news, so that is important for you. So section 66A of IT Act and Shreya Singhal case can be important for you, okay. Now consequences of the retweeting. So basically after all this discussion, what is the crux? We can say that whenever the issue was first, does retweeting allegedly defamatory content amount to defamation or not, okay. So here court has said that yes, it will amount to defamation, because ultimately that content is defamatory in nature, okay. So here you can see an essential ingredient of defamation is the lowering of one's reputation in the public eyes, okay. So if you are harming someone's reputation, that is the main criteria of defamation. So an essential ingredient of defamation is the lowering of one's reputation in the eye of public. Also defamatory statement must be communicated to a third person, okay. Now the defamatory retweet multiplies, or you can say multiples quickly and reaches to a faster masses. The thing is, one person has put it online, but then you have retweeted it, so you have circulated the message again. People who are connected with you, they might also go for the similar action. So ultimately that will go for a circulation of that particular message. So that is why it will harm the reputation of that particular person. Now retweeting a content which is allegedly defamatory on the Twitter account and projecting it to be as if his own views. So if you are retweeting it, people will think that it is your own views, okay. So your follower might also go for the similar thing, and will prima facie attract the liability under section 499 of IPC for the purpose of issuance of the summons. So basically they are saying that if you are going for retweeting any content which is basically you can say defamatory in nature, so that means that you are actually doing that, and your followers is also there that these are your personal views. So that is why that person can be held liable for the defamatory action, okay. So simple as in an you can say the crux of the article is that if you are spreading or if you are retweeting a content which is defamatory in nature, you can also be held liable for circulating that particular message, not just the person who has created it. Okay, so now there are 2 or 3 things you can remember, that is section 499 of IPC, one thing. Second thing is article 21. Third thing is article 19 1 clause A, and then article 19 clause 2. Other than that, you can also remember that right to reputation is part of article 21. Okay, so I guess this is enough for your discussion from this particular article. Let's move further. Hold on. No, we don't go for Hindustan analysis, Hindustan Times, because there is the Hindus analysis which is on the Drishti IAS Hindi channel, and you can go and watch the Hindu where Akshay sir is doing that, and we will be doing Indian Express here in English. Okay. Okay, so 2023 warmest year on the record. This particular decade of 2014 to 23, that decade is considered to the warmest decade. Okay, I would want you to go through this particular article and extract the data. Okay, these are certain things which I have highlighted. These are certain data which you can remember for your examination point of view. Okay, so World Meteorological Organization, WMO. Okay, so WMO has come up with a report which is saying that 2023 was the warmest year on record, while the past decade was the warmest decade. Okay, so decade from 2014 to 2023, and when we are talking about the warmest year, that is 2023. Okay, now the annual state of the climate report. The name of the report is Annual State of Climate Report. Now this report is published by WMO. So this report is important for you from your exam point of view. Here they are saying that global mean surface temperature in 2023 was 1.45 degrees Celsius higher than the pre-industrial level. Now our target was what? Our target was to go for restricting the temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay. So at particular point of time in a year, we are also facing that there are increase of 1.45 degrees Celsius higher than the pre-average of the 1850 to 1900 pre-industrial levels. Okay, this significantly higher than the 1.29 in 2016 when this report came. It was 1.29 in 2023. This is 1.45 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that is you can say a cause of concern for us. Okay, so that is one thing you can remember. So in 2016 it was 1.29 degrees Celsius, and in 2023 we have 1.45 degrees Celsius, that is from the pre-industrial level, and our target is to check the temperature difference to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So that is you can say unpractical aspiration, because the thing is, we at the pace where on which we are generating the greenhouse gases, there are high chances that we might not achieve this target at all. Okay, now the decadal average of the global mean surface temperature between 2014 and 23 was 1.2 degrees Celsius. When we are talking about this particular decade of 10 years, the temperature change was, or you can say average temperature change was 1.2 degrees Celsius. Okay, now making it warmest 10 years record, or you can say warmest decade. WMO report noted that the observed concentration of the 3 main greenhouse gases. They have said that greenhouse gases, when we are talking about GHGs, there are 3 gases whose concentration has been increasing. One is carbon dioxide, second is methane, third is nitrous oxide. These 3 are important greenhouse gases which are causing harm to our environment at a very faster pace. Now when we are talking about the you can say concentration of these particular gases, here you can see when we are talking about CO2, concentration of CO2 is nearly 417 parts per million. Okay, that is 150% higher than the pre-industrial level. Okay, so from 1800 until now we have 150% higher concentration of CO2. That is one thing. When we are talking about methane, that is nearly 1923 parts per million, and the concentration of this particular is increased to 64% from the pre-industrial level. Okay, so I guess you can say that methane's concentration is highest, methane's speed at which methane has gained this concentration, that is higher, because there is an increase of 264%. Okay, when we are talking about the nitrous oxide, the concentration is nearly 335.8 ppm, and it has increased at a 124% from the pre-industrial level. Now these data are important for you. I would suggest that at least if you can't remember everything, just remember for CO2 and methane. Okay, other than that, these temperature, if you can't remember, it's okay. Just know that we have this target of 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so these are the data which has been discussed in the this particular report. Now why it is happening? So yesterday we have discussed about various things related to your ocean surface temperature. Almost reasons are the same. Okay, impacts are different because we have seen the impacts on the ocean level or ocean surface, but the, you can say, causes are same. First thing is concentration of greenhouse gas. Okay, so greenhouse gas emission. Other than that, ocean heat content. Now why we are talking about ocean heat content? Because obviously when there is a greenhouse gas emission, these emissions are basically nothing but energies. Okay, and these energies are basically in the form of heat. They have been you can say absorbed by the oceans. Okay, so because of this heat is absorbed by the oceans, so surface temperature of oceans are increasing, which we have discussed yesterday. So that is one thing. Other than that, ice caps are melting. Okay, because of which your sea level is rising. Okay, so these are certain things which are happening over there because of the mostly the cause is greenhouse gas emission, or you can say fossil fuels. Okay, other than that, when we are talking about this ocean heat content, so it will also impact the ocean currents. Okay, so yesterday we have talked about El Nino. We have said that equatorial Pacific zone will see an unusual high, rise in the temperature, or you can say warm currents will be generating over there in place of the cold currents. So that is one thing, and because of this El Nino, you know that it has the adverse impact on the monsoon. Okay, so these things are basically related to one another. Okay, now because of these greenhouse gases, we have CO2 in the atmosphere. Now CO2 is also being absorbed by the oceans. When CO2 is absorbed by the oceans, we go for the ocean acidification. Okay, what will happen is that when CO2 goes inside, that will form some bicarbonate over there. Okay, and ultimately because of the presence of H plus ion over there, we will go for the ocean acidification. Now when we go for the ocean acidification, there is ocean acidification in the that particular waters. You can say that it will harm the corals, which we have talked yesterday. So mostly everything is on the same lines. Here you can see concentration of greenhouse gases continue to rise in 2022. Ocean heat content and sea level reaches record observations, and the rate of increase in the rate at which they are accelerating, that is increasing. Our Antarctic sea, or you can say Antarctic sea ice content is also observed to be low. Key glaciers are recording losses of the ice caps. With the 70% of the Earth's surface covered with the water, greenhouse gases excess energy lead to accumulation of heat in the oceans. Okay, which we have discussed. Now oceans absorb the carbons, etc., that lead to ocean acidification, rise in the sea level, and more. Ocean heat content has been increasing, and in the last 65 years we have seen that this time in 2022 it was highest. Okay, it has, and 2023 it was highest, and it has exceeded the 2022, which was also highest at that point of time. Okay, so we can say that ocean heat content is also increasing. The Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean remains unusually warm. Okay, these two oceans are remaining warm. When we are talking about the El Nino, Pacific Ocean is remaining warm. So ultimately we can say that ocean temperature are being increased. Then we have talked about the heat waves and the cold waves. We have talked these heat waves and cold waves in the marine ecosystem, and here in the on the terrestrial ecosystem it is also prevalent. Okay, so that is also another thing. The higher than normal sea surface temperature along the equatorial Pacific region, or you can say El Nino impact, basically marine heat waves are persisted along the North Atlantic Oceans. 32% area of the total global ocean surfaces or suffered from the marine heat waves, which was 23% in 2016. So when in 2016 it was 23% of the surface which was under the heat waves in the marine ecosystem. Now it has increased to 32%. Okay, so ultimately these all impacts are basically of the climate change. These are impacts of the anthropogenic activities which are being done by the humans, basically greenhouse gases and the fossil fuel related emissions. Okay, so this is what we have discussed. For your prelims point of view, you have to remember 2 or 3 certain things. That is 2023 is the you can say warmest year. You can say the decade 2014 to 23 is the warmest decade. The temperature change which we have discussed already 1.45 degrees Celsius. Okay, and the target is 1.5 degrees Celsius. Other than that, you can also remember certain of these things, these you can say reasons which we have discussed and the impacts of that. Okay, now moving further. Next article is related to air quality report. There is nothing much to discuss in that. As usual, Delhi has the top. Delhi is among the top rankers. Before, what used to happen is they used to consider New Delhi and Old Delhi as a particular one unit. Okay, so that time it was Delhi, and now they have considered New Delhi and Old Delhi as different entities, and considering that New Delhi will be the you can say highly polluted you can say capital. Okay, so now Delhi was the most polluted capital in the world last year, and the third most polluted city in India after Begusarai and Guwahati. So basically they are saying that in India we have Begusarai is in Bihar, and then Guwahati is in Assam, and then we have Delhi. Okay, so they are talking about the cities here. And when we are talking about this particular thing that Delhi was the most polluted capital city, they are talking about the capital city here. So when we are when they ask you about the capital city, it is Delhi, and if they are asking about the city, it is Begusarai in Bihar. Okay. Now this report is being given by the this report, that is World Air Quality Report, that has been published, and which is saying that Delhi is the most polluted capital city. And this report is prepared by the IQ Air, a Swiss air quality technology company. You don't have to remember that. Only reports which are from the respected institutions like or you can say international institutions like let's say UN's bodies, WTO, IMF, World Bank, etc. These reports you can remember. Okay. Otherwise, also there are certain particular NGO or the non-government organizations. All these things which are very prominent in nature. Like we have this institution called CIPRI. So their report is important, and we have this Pratham. Their report is important. Okay. So just go through the previous year question papers, and where you will recognize which reports they have been asking again and again, which institutions they have been asking again and again. Okay, on the basis of which you can prepare a list. So you don't have to remember this particular name. So they have taken the data from the stations of the government agencies, various NGOs and educational institutions. In 2023, Delhi's annual average this particular matter 2.5 level was 92.7 micrometer per cubic meter it was. Okay, you don't have to remember all these data. Okay, so I would not go into details of it because these are very hectic. Here you can see that the PM level, or you can say particulate matter level, has been decreasing from January to September last year, and then it increased in the November December. You know that November December, at that particular point of time, we have this fog related activities etc. that farm waste was also burned in the nearby area of Delhi, and because of which this particular data is on the higher path. Okay, now here you can see air quality guidelines of the World Health Organization WHO suggest that the annual average PM level should be 5 micrograms per meter cube. Okay, so that should be the basically ideal case, but in Delhi's case it is nearly 92. Okay, 92.7. Okay, so you can understand what kind of pollution we are living in. Then Begusarai in Bihar, Guwahati in Assam fared worse than the Delhi in terms of annual average PM. Then Delhi topped the IQ Air list of capital cities in terms of annual average PM levels from 2018 to 2022. Okay, so from 2018 to 2022, Delhi was the city which was topping it. But then it has been separated Delhi and New Delhi, and now it is New Delhi. Okay. So exposure to these particles, that is PM 2.5, has been directly linked to the health problems including cardiovascular diseases, neurological diseases, and the increased risk of death. So this you can remember. So there was nothing much in this article. Now moving to the case study we have talked about, the Bangalore case study. So basically recently what is happening is Bangalore is facing a water crisis. And why is that? Because of certain reason. When we are talking about the topography of the Bangalore, or the physical map of the Bangalore, here you can see these are some areas. Here you can see that most of the areas here we have this river systems over there. Okay, and these blue parts here you are seeing, these are all small water bodies. So you can say that Bangalore has many lakes, small lakes. Okay, and these lakes are basically called kere in Kannada. So if you see or hear the name just like Mathikeri, okay, so the kere word is basically a lake. Okay, so now what is the problem with Bangalore? Because whether here you can say there are various rivers also there. We have Suvarnamukhi Valley, we have this Vishwavati Valley, Arkavati Valley, Hebel Naraga Valley, and then Koramangala Valley. All these areas are valley regions. Then why is that we are facing a water crisis now? Okay, so earlier when we are talking about Bangalore, the topography include various water bodies, various lakes were there, and the groundwater recharge was there because of the regular rainfall, etc. Now when we are talking about Bangalore, Bangalore has a rocky topography. Okay, so you know that rocks do not have the water retention capacity. If the groundwater comes, or you can say if rainfall comes, the aquifer level will rise, and it will also lose this level very fast because of their more permeability, you can say, because rocks are very permeous. There are very voids are there. Okay, because of which they do not have the water retention capacity. So that groundwater issue was there all when we are talking about Bangalore, groundwater related issues were there. Okay, so as soon as water comes, or you can say rainfall comes, these aquifer get recharged, and then within small time it will depreciate it. The thing is, other thing right now what is happening is that because of the monsoon in 2023, you can say that failed. The expected rainfalls are not there. Okay, before that I would like to tell you that Bangalore was facing a shortage of 500 million liters of the water every day, which is about a fifth of Delhi's total demand. Okay, so nearly a fifth demand of the Bangalore's water requirement is not been fulfilled because of the water scarcity. Okay, and that particular water scarcity is not restricted to Bangalore, but to the nearby areas of the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, etc. Okay, so you can say Telangana, Maharashtra, and Karnataka, they are facing similar situations. Okay, now coming to the reasons why there was a water shortage. One thing is that is 2023 monsoon. That monsoon did not perform as expected, and because of which these groundwater were not recharged, and if at all some water came, that got depreciated soon because of the rocky topography. That is one thing. Here they are talking about the South India has a very different kind of aquifer system. It is very rocky, and they do not hold water, empty out quickly, and also get recharged pretty quickly. Okay, what this means is that the groundwater resources are not able to sustain for very long time in the event of the prolonged dry spells. Okay, so they are saying that this groundwater will not work over there. It is different from the North Indian you can say groundwater situations, because topography here is different. When we are talking about the UP and Bihar, we have clay, we have soil over there, we have alluvial soil, because of which water retention is higher. Okay, so that is another thing. Aquifer in the North India are once full, they can hold water and sustain the demand for couple of years. Okay, now second thing, one thing was related to your monsoon, second thing was related to the, here you can say, the falling reservoir levels. Okay, obviously because if rain was less, these water reservoirs which are there, we cannot operate at the full capacity. So when we are talking about the current capacity, these are 26% less than their full capacity. Okay, so that is another reason because of which there is a water scarcity. And third reason is that there are certain other issues, like when we are talking about the Bangalore, there are some structural issues that Bangalore has seen a unregulated urbanization. Okay, or you can say unregulated constructions. People came to Bangalore, they have shifted there, they have gone for the residential buildings, etc. But the thing is, earlier where these water bodies were there because of the dry spell, when they found the land, they have claimed those land, and then when the water comes, they did not have the place to store that water, because these lakes are basically shrinking in Bangalore. So there is this Mathikari lake. Okay, so earlier this Mathikari lake was a huge area. But now if you go to Bangalore and ask someone to go to Mathikari, you will find out that it is a residential area now. Okay, so there are various roads, residential apartments, etc. But that particular lake has shrunken to a small area. Okay, other than that, in this map we have talked about this Kormangala. Okay, so Kormangala is a valley, but right now if you go to Kormangala, it is a very posh area in Bangalore. Okay, so it is also a residential society. So humans has claimed those areas where water could be stored. Now water storage is not there, and now we are saying that we are going through a water scarcity. Okay, so that is one thing. There are certain long-term structural issues, that is unregulated construction, systematic destruction of lakes, hindrance to the natural underground flow of the water, and climate change. Climate change obviously is the reason. Now seasonal fluctuation in the rainfall and the state's inability to create capacity to deal with these kind of vulnerabilities. Okay, now the thing is, now we know that there are certain issues, but the thing is we do not have the capacity to make sure that we deal with these issues. Okay, now the rural part of the state were facing an even greater shortage. India is still not built capacity to deal with the multiple year droughts. Okay, obviously we have not seen multiple year droughts in the last few decades, but the thing is, even though we did not say see it, we do not have the capacity yet. We did not build the capacity at all. Now Bangalore is seeing such crisis. The areas in the South India are seeing such crisis. Now it is high time we should go for building such infrastructure. Okay, the key obviously is to put value on the water. It is not a free resource. Low or optimal consumption need to be incentivized, and the wasteful use must be discouraged. Okay, that can be a good conclusion for any kind of answer, essay, etc. Okay, so that is related to your case study of Bangalore. Herein you can tell how Bangalore is facing the scarcity, what are the reason of this scarcity. When we are talking about these things, we can say that there are various metropolitan cities, like you can say that Mumbai. We have Mumbai, where also we are claiming the lands, or there is a rapid urbanization, or you can say unauthorized constructions are there. Chennai. Okay, so all these cities, Bangalore, all these cities are basically going for the similar trends. Okay, so in future they will also face the similar fate. Now next is around the world. Owing to busy, Hong Kong passes a new law quash dissent. So basically earlier China has come up with a law which is to quash the dissent. Okay, you know that these when we are talking about China, China is kind of authoritative in nature. Sometimes you can say it is assertive and authoritative. Okay, so they have come up with a law, and now Hong Kong has also come up with such law, because now we are talking about the political structure in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is basically now governed by pro-China people over there. So there are high chances that such things we are seeing in the Hong Kong as well. Hong Kong lawmaker unanimously approved a new nation security law, grants government more power to quash dissent. Okay, sweeping political crackdown triggered by the pro-democracy protest in 2019. Okay, so these were first in 2019, but now they have come up with this law to suppress the dissent. Now safeguarding national security bill expand the authorities ability to prosecute citizen for offence including colluding with the external forces to commit illegal acts, as well as charge them with the treason, insurrection, espionage, and disclosing the state secrets and others. Okay, so these are certain areas in which this bill talks about. Other than that, you can see here seditions, state secrets, espionage, and treason. Other than that, external interference. Okay, so if you are involved with anyone else from your country, from any external agent, etc., then they can go for such things. Okay, now similar security law Beijing imposed in 2020 largely silenced the opposition voices in the financial hub in Beijing, or you can say China. Hong Kong's Legislative Council, packed with the Beijing, or you can say China's loyalist, following an electoral overhaul, rushed the law through the approval. So that is what I was saying. There are pro-China legislatures which are sitting in the Hong Kong's Legislative Council, and that is why we are seeing such development over there. Critics are worried that the new law will further erode the civil liberties, and Beijing promised to preserve for 50 years when this particular area, that is Hong Kong, was returned to China from British. Okay, Hong Kong was a Chinese colony. It was returned to China in 1997. Okay, so this particular thing you can remember, from British to China, and China said that we will give you can say autonomy, or they will preserve this autonomy of this particular area for 50 years, or you can say they will preserve the civil liberties in this particular area for 50 years, but now they have come up with this particular act. Okay, so you can go through this. Other thing is, China hospitals pause obstetric services as birth rate falls. Okay, so we have seen in recent years that China's population is fell for the second consecutive years. Okay, and considering that China has stopped going for, or you can say they have reduced the number of hospitals which are providing maternity care, or you can say childbirth, etc. So because obviously it was not profitable, because birth rate was decreasing. Many hospitals in China have stopped offering newborn delivery services this year, warning of obstetric winter due to decline in demand and amid a record drop in the new births. Okay, other than that, we have also talked about a dragon year. Okay, in China they have this you can say belief, or you can say this system, wherein they assign every you can say year to a spirited animal. Okay, so 2024 was a dragon year, and they think that this comes in 12 years, every 12 years it comes. Okay, so they think that these dragon years are quite auspicious. People born in dragon years are quite lucky. Okay, so we were expecting that in 2024 this birth rate will increase. Okay, as of now the closer come as China policy grapples with how to boost young couples desire to have children, as authorities face a growing demographic headache of a rapidly aging society. So as India is growing young, China is growing old. Okay, so because of which now China is trying to incentivize the young people over there to go for more procreation. Okay, China's population fell for a second consecutive year in 2023. Record low birth rate and high deaths due to COVID-19 accelerated the downturn, will have profound long-term impact on the economy growth, because obviously when we are talking about the dividend has the positive potential. So if there is an aging you can say population, that will have a negative impact on the economic growth. Okay, so I guess this is clear. Now around the world, Putin will visit Xi in the May. Okay, so this is the first visit after he has become he will become the president in the next term, and he will visit first China. Okay, so recently you must have seen that China and Russia are being quite close. So there is nothing much in this article, you can read it on your own. Second thing is, Israel's curbs on aid may account to war crimes. Okay, so when we are talking about war crimes, so with the name you can suggest what these are, but recently what Israel is doing, that they are as per this report, they are saying that UN is saying that Israel is stopping the aid so that people in that Gaza area can starve to death. Okay, so now this particular tactic, they are saying that that is a war crime. Okay, Israel's restriction on humanitarian aid for Gaza may amount to starvation tactic, that is a war crime. The extent of Israel's continued restriction on the entry of aid into Gaza, together with the manner in which it continues to conduct hostilities, may amount to the use of starvation as a method of war, that is war crime as per UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. Okay, on the other hand, Israel is saying that we are doing what we can do, but UN need to step up, because they have allowed them to go inside the Gaza, but the thing is UN had to pace up the delivery. They have to with respect to the quantity and the pace of the delivery, that is on the UN's part to decide. Okay, now I guess this is it for our today's session. We will see a practice question. Bengaluru is situated on the river basin of which of the following rivers? Okay, options are Kaveri, Krishna, Periyar, and none of these. So you have to attempt this question and answer in the comment box. Mostly we have discussed all the important articles from today's newspaper. Since prelims are around the corner, so there are many people who might not be much interested in reading the newspaper, but I would suggest that you go through this particular episodes, because this will be current oriented. It will help you eliminate at least 1 or 2 questions extra. Okay, so keep learning, and if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel. Thank you. I'll see you in the next episode.